everyone.
That's not what we're talking about right now. We're not doing an internal critique of Christianity. What I'm doing is I'm challenging your worldview to see if your worldview even makes sense to hold.
Okay, my worldview is. I can tell you my.
You don't.
What do you mean by makes sense?
It's not really that special. You fit in the category just like the rest of us. None of us are really that special. You're agnostic. You don't know if there's a God, but you can't count it out for sure. You don't know for sure. So you're agnostic.
What do you mean makes sense?
Right. So okay, I'm talking to one person right now. Okay. So when you're agnostic, okay, at the moment you realize you're agnostic, you have implicitly denied God's existence. Do you understand that, or do you want me to explain it?
I understand that.
Right, exactly. Okay, if whoever this is, I'm not looking at my phone. If you interrupt again, I'm just gonna mute you. Okay, I'm having a one-on-one conversation right now. I don't need your side commentary. Thank you. Okay, so
I just want people to be happy and not argue about shit. Not we're arguing or anything. I just want people overall to be happy.
Well, do you not want to have this conversation? I don't want to put you in a weird place.
Oh no, I'll have the conversation. I'm just saying overall, people's happiness is what I care about.
I respect that. I appreciate that, and I feel the same exact way. I love every single one of you. And I just want you to be happy. But I think that's why I want to talk to you about this, because I want to kind of show you that it might be worth questioning what you think about reality, because if you can't even defend your own worldview, then it seems like you might need a new one, right? If your worldview is completely indefensible and makes no sense, it's not logical whatsoever, doesn't allow you to know anything, it might be worth taking a second look at it.
Can I ask a clarifying question or no?
No, dude, please. I've already asked you twice now,
man. I feel
like
my worldview. There's also the fact of outside of religious stuff, my worldview, I fully understand what me as a man stands for, me as a person, my values.
No. Well, you actually don't, because remember what we were just talking about. You don't actually know anything for sure. Remember we were just talking about this?
That's God, though. That's different. I'm saying that, what things that I stand on.
No, we're not talking about God right now. We're talking about your disassociation with God. When you disassociate yourself from God, you don't have God to count on to instantiate anything in your world.
It's not even I disassociate myself from a God,
no,
right?
You are implicitly.
But no, it's more.
You said you're agnostic.
Right. But I just don't follow the Christian God, really. I feel like.
I understand, but when you are, which I was trying to explain to you earlier, when you say I'm agnostic, you're implicitly denying the fact that everything is upheld and sustained by God. You're saying, well, everything exists. It could be the case that it exists without it. Okay, so let's look into that. Is it possible? Does that make any sense? Is that a coherent statement? Is it possible that everything could exist without being instantiated or upheld by God?
Yeah, think about, for example, very, very, very small life forms, so down to the point to bugs, not bugs, things inside of your body that are living, right? Maybe you have a little bug dude inside of your body right now, just chilling, right? Think about that compared to you. At some point, humans were so far down on the chain to where we were literally just sticks with membranes.
And how do you know that?
Just because look at evolution going backwards. It's just fucking...
How do you know... And how did you learn about evolution?
Just general existence.
Okay, how do you know your general existence is actually comports with the ontological reality of the world?
Okay, but doesn't that seem cool though that we potentially are so far evolved as species?
No, dude. Right now, what we're trying to do, just to get a better frame, because I don't think you're getting this. What we're doing is we're having a philosophical conversation.
I know, and I'm not trying to. I'm literally just talking to you. I'm not trying to troll you. It's just.
I know you're not. I'm just trying to help. I'm sure you've never had a conversation like this before.
No, I have. I have. Okay. They go different. Just depends on my mood that day. If the person pisses me off and I want to fuck with them, or if I'm genuinely trying to talk with them.
Okay. Well, I'm not trying to piss you off, and I hope that I'm not. If I am, then just let me know, and we can, end the conversation.
You're not. You're good.
Okay. Well, all I'm just trying to do is I'm interrogating you because I want to find out how you justify your worldview. I understand you're saying, evolution says this, but what I want to know is, well, how do you know that your understanding of evolution is even real remotely?
It's because of studies. Studies have backed. You can literally just look at history studies of scientists.
But if you don't know you exist, then how do you know that study's valid?
I don't know, because it's backed by academic research that's potentially.
But you don't exist. But you don't exist.
Then I can exist outside of because I can. It doesn't. I can exist outside of non-existence. Okay.
So you can not exist and exist at the same time?
Yeah, man. I can't.
No, man, that's a contradiction. You can't. You cannot exist and not exist. That's a true dichotomy. You either exist or you don't exist.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm not even trying to troll. It's just...
I'm not trolling, but you just admitted to something that was completely fallacious.
Wait, is he
Okay.
Just violate the law of non-contradiction.
Yeah, is he rejecting the law of non-contradiction?
No, I'm
Yes, he's
rejecting
saying that
your
he can exist and not exist at the same time.
Yeah, man, I'm interconnecting. I'm
Well,
interconnecting.
he's a
Are
little
you
bit
just
high,
trolling, or is
I
that
think.
true?
No,
It's
I think he's a
true.
little high. He's not
I am
really
kind of
following
high.
what we're saying.
Yeah, I
No,
am high.
Yeah.
Kason,
Let's
he's not
just
really
move on to-
tracking what you're saying.
I'm not
Yeah, I
trying
know.
to troll, though. I'm
but
not.
I don't want to like beat this guy up and give him like a bad experience. Maybe we can talk to him another day when he's like a little bit more sober,
Yeah,
or
fine.
he's like heard the arguments. Let's just move on to someone else. All right?
Yeah, I wanted to actually talk to.
Sure. Let's.
Yeah, so
Yes, I saw you objecting to my my claim about agnosticism.
Yeah, and I'm
What's
just
your
saying
issue with what I said?
an agnostic. Agnostic, I just take to be the view that somebody who's not convinced that God exists, and they aren't convinced that God does not exist. So an agnostic actually doesn't have to be committed to what you said about something X being possible without God. They don't have to be committed to that actually.
Do they reference God as a necessary precondition for any truth value that they derive?
Hold on, go.
Is God? Well, okay. Well, that's
so-
the question to get to. Go ahead.
Well, I know, but let me just. Okay, so let me lay this out and give you an analogy that I just thought of that might help us understand this. So, if you don't work, right? If you say I don't work, does that mean you want to be homeless? Necessarily?
No.
Right. But if you don't work, then what's going to happen is if you just keep not working and no one else is going to support you and you're just on your own, you're going to be homeless. It's just a necessary effect of you deciding that you don't want to work. In the exact same way, this is what happens when you declare that you are an agnostic. It is an implicit denial of God's existence.
Wait, hold up. I don't understand. I don't understand. The thing about not working, maybe it increases the likelihood of you going homeless. I don't see how that's relevant. Are you? So I just want to make sure. Are you disagreeing with me when I say that an agnostic does not have to be committed to a view that says X is
No,
possible?
I'm not disagreeing with that. But what I'm saying is whether you're committed to it or not is irrelevant. It is necessarily. It necessarily follows that when you are saying that I'm an agnostic, you are implicitly denying God's existence. You're saying everything that I am acquainted with could exist without God. It also could exist with God, but it could not exist without God. So what I'm going to do...
that's the problem. Yeah, that's the issue. So
What's wrong?
I'm saying that's what I'm saying. An agnostic isn't committed to that. Right?
Yeah,
Because
buddy, you're wrong.
An agnostic
I don't know what to tell you. You're 100% wrong.
Yeah. So look, hold on. I just want to ask you the question that I just asked you.
Wait, just for case in.
Yeah, go ahead.
An agnostic could just be agnostic as to whether or not these things are possible.
Dude, you're just saying the word. He already stated to you why you're not getting it.
Okay,
Right. Hold on. Let's not attack him. He's not getting it. Let's have Goon try. Maybe he has a better way of explaining it to him. But try to have your mind open because we've talked about this.
He doesn't like talking to me for some reason.
Well, before we go on to Goon, I'm happy to let's just finish up here and then we can go to Goon.
Okay.
I just want to make sure.
I feel like we're gonna at some point we're gonna start circling the drains.
Okay,
so maybe I don't have the words equipped.
Look,
but
let me just ask you
one more
a
time.
Sorry, can I just ask you a question? Maybe.
What I want from you is an argument that concludes with an agnostic has to believe that the world is possible without God. I just want an argument.
Can I interject here?
Okay. No. Hold on, Goon. Hold on. So look, I'll give you the argument right now.
Okay.
If you say I'm an agnostic, and then I ask you, okay, you're agnostic, perfect. What color's the sky? And you say it's blue. You have now just asserted a truth claim, correct?
Sorry, are you asking me a question, or I thought you were giving an argument?
I'm asking you a question. I said I asked you a question.
Yes.
If you declare you're agnostic,
yes,
and then the next thing,
don't repeat the question. The answer is yes, but I'm asking you to give an argument.
Okay.
An agnostic is.
It's conditional. It's a conditional, maybe.
Hold on. Wait, Goon, please relax.
One at a time, guys.
Okay, dude. Okay, yeah, dude. We're just gonna move on because you're not even trying to understand me at this point. You're just I'm trying to lead you down a lot. Okay, now you're.
I'm trying to understand you.
And it's just not gonna be very productive. So yeah, we're gonna just mute him, try to talk to him, but I mean, it's just clearly not going to be very productive. I'm trying to walk him down a logical path, and he's fighting me. So maybe it's just not going to be the day that we.
Yeah, the thing he wasn't catching there is that it was a conditional. So the contradiction is going to arise, and listen very closely, maybe. The contradiction is going to arise when you assert truth values without God being the necessary precondition for that truth value, and saying that you're agnostic at the same time, because that's going to be in direct contradiction with the Christian worldview. So that you're no longer agnostic when you do that. That's the contradiction. So if you want to respond to that, go ahead.
Right. Yeah, right. So when you say the sky is blue, well, now you've admitted that you can know something without the necessity of affirming a God. You're saying that I can just vote?
which is directly in contradiction with the Christian worldview. So it's a dichotomy.
Right.
Either you think that God is the necessary precondition for all intelligibility, right? And if you don't think that, that's in direct contradiction with that view.
Is that
all right? So we'll unmute him and we'll see if we made any progress. I mean, I think that was very clear. Let's see if he maybe has an objection. But if he just rabbit trails or just gives us some like red herring, we'll just move on.
Anyway, yeah, so there's two things here. It sounds like what I'm hearing is that if somebody's agnostic, then Christianity is false. That implication could be true. It could be true that agnosticism makes Christianity
You're not
false,
responding to what I said.
or
You're just doing the
renders
Malpass thing.
false, but that doesn't mean an agnostic has to be committed.
Okay. Yeah. So we're just gonna have a fundamental disagreement here, buddy.
Well, does anybody think that was a response
Yeah.
to what I said? Does anybody here think that was a response to what I said?
No, obviously. But he just
That was the Alex Malpass argument, rebuttal argument, which doesn't address what I said. So I guess you just had
And
that
to
in
be
mind.
honest, usually we don't even get stuck there. I mean, it's a pretty simple concept. If you say I'm agnostic, and then you make a truth claim, you're saying that truth claim doesn't need to be predicated on a God. I can know now. If you said, "Well, I just maybe in my delusion, I just think that the sky's blue. I don't know why." Maybe you could play with that a little bit, but still, you'd still be implicitly denying God. It is either the case that God exists or it does not. That's a true dichotomy.
Yeah,
Right.
I wasn't hearing his argument. He's saying, I'm agnostic. It could be God. It might not be God. Okay, could it be God? Nope, definitely not. I'm agnostic.
He's just not
It wasn't making any
understanding.
sense.
I have a question,
He thinks that by saying I'm agnostic, that he can have this veil of oh, I'm not saying either way. He doesn't realize that when he actually says something as simple as I exist, okay, he's going to need to instantiate that. He can't just claim it. He needs to give us a justification. How do you know that? Oh, well, I just know. Okay, that's viciously circular. That doesn't work.
Right.
That's a logical contradiction. So how do you know that? And if you're going to say, oh, well, because science says this and this and this, now we're going to have to attack your worldview, right? But so that's what we're trying to explain to this concept is really not hard. Not many people even we don't even really get stuck here that often. This is pretty shocking, but
Right. So,
okay.
so just to be clear for everybody in the room that probably wasn't catching on, so it's a true dichotomy that either God is the necessary referencing point for intelligibility or not. If it diverges from anything other than God being the necessary reference point for intelligibility, then that is in direct contradiction via the dichotomy to the Christian worldview. And so now he has to defend that position.
Yeah, the only thing he could really say is if I ask an agnostic, is the sky blue? The only thing he could really say is I don't know. But that would still destroy him because then I would just say, well, you'd have to apply that to everything in your worldview. You wouldn't be able to know anything, and then it kind of leads us to there's really no escaping this, unfortunately, for them. But the agnostic claim is probably one of the weakest. The stronger claims are definitely the theist claims. Those are harder to debunk, but still not even that hard, to be honest.
I have a question.
Sure.
I don't know that when I go to the
Sorry, you're so low. It sounds like
Sorry.
you're trying to talk on Christmas morning with your wife while you're putting presents under the tree, so you don't wake up the kids. We really can't hear you.
Wow.
Super. That sounds
I do have a wife, but I have no kids yet.
Yeah,
the
hold
question,
on, kids.
my question
You're
is,
still really low. I don't know what you
You're
can do.
doing it wrong. by the way,
Input or-
so.
Wait, do you want kids? Yo, dude, Futurama, man. Do you want kids?
yeah, sure, why not?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, do you want me to explain it one more time? I don't know how they're not tracking.
No,
Yeah, so do you know hold on. So 1999, do you know what a true dichotomy is? What is it? Yeah, go ahead. Exactly. And so the contradiction is conditional if you claim to be agnostic, and you claim to come to truth or come to intelligibility, derive any truth claims about the world. If you do that, if you do both of those things simultaneously without the reference to God as a necessary precondition for all intelligibility, that is in direct contradiction with the Christian worldview, which would entail a contradiction.
Can you repeat that one more? Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, so it's
Slower?
condition. Okay, yeah. So it's conditional. If you claim.
Hold on,
What's the
please don't
inference?
interrupt. I want to hear his two conditions one more time.
Yeah, so if you claim to be agnostic, that's the conditional. If you claim to be agnostic, comma,
And you make a truth claim.
and you make a truth claim without
Got it.
reference to the necessity of God, that is in contradiction with the Christian worldview, and therefore you are no longer agnostic. That's the contradiction. That's P, I am agnostic, and not P, I am not agnostic. That's the contradiction. Yeah, that would just be a modus ponens. Yes, and yeah. I don't know why you're not tracking. Yes, and the conclusion was the conjunction of the proposition and its negation. So I don't know why you're lost right now. No, okay, you're not tracking again. You're not referencing God as a necessary precondition when you derive truth values, which again is in direct contradiction with the Christian worldview. Are you like, which part of that do you not understand? I'm actually trying to like convey it to you as best as possible.
Yeah, I don't know how much more we can break this down. Like, it's very simple.
Yeah, wait, hold on. So did I give an inference rule? Yeah, and the conditional. Hold on. So the condition. Yeah, so it's the conditionals of if X and not X. That would be a conjunction of the two propositions entailing a contradiction. Yeah, the P would. Well, actually, hold on.
Well, I actually understand what you're saying.
This isn't formal. Yeah, hold on. I need to formalize this. But yeah, what's the objection though to what I'm saying? I'm not. Okay, I mean, I'll formalize it then. Yeah, give me a second.
This is why I'm so glad we have Goon here, because he knows all this inference stuff. Like, I'm not this deep. I just come at it more from just a layman's like logical perspective. Like, if I say the sky's blue, well, then it'd be fair to ask, how do you know that? And then if you explain, like, oh, well, when I see it with my eyes, like my sense data, interprets it as blue. And then I say, okay, well, how do you know that your senses are reliable? And then I don't know what you would say. You would say, well, it's because it's the only thing I know. And then I'd say, okay, that's viciously circular. Like, we could go down that line.
Wait, hold 1 second. Look, I understand. Look, I just don't, I honestly just think you're not tracking what I'm saying. So just try to listen closely when I say this. Okay.
Okay.
So it could be the case, let's just say we grant that agnosticism, if somebody's agnostic, that it entails that Christianity is false. That could be true, but my criticism is an agnostic doesn't have to believe that. They could just not know that it entails Christianity.
Right, but then they'd also have to. But in order to hold on to their agnosticism, they'd have to never state a truth claim. That's the only way they could do it. They would just have to stay neutral about absolutely
No. What he's saying is, hold on a minute. So he's basically maybe saying that yes, it would entail that they would be atheistic towards this God, but that doesn't mean they know that that's the entailment. So he's basically saying they can be retarded and not know the entailment of their belief.
Yeah, look, the point I'm making is that you could be an agnostic, and you could just be like you aren't committed. You don't have to say that anything is possible without God. You could just be agnostic as to whether these things are possible without God. So I'm saying your claim when you said an agnostic is committed to saying that X is possible without God, that's a false claim, and you're wrong about that.
Once they make an assertion, I'm not wrong about that. Once they say, they can say I'm agnostic. Well, no, you're not getting it. Once they say, okay, so if I ask you, you're an agnostic, correct?
Sure.
Okay, what color is the grass?
Green.
Okay, how do you know that?
Like my perceptual experiences.
Yeah, okay, how do you know your perception is reliable and you're not like delusional or in a dream?
That's a hint.
That's his way of saying axiom. That's his way of saying axiom.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just an axiom. Okay, so how does your axiom justified?
Are using justification is something that's created by my axioms. So you might be using the term differently.
So your axiom justifies your axiom. So it's viciously circular.
That's not what I said. No, you didn't get what I said. I said it's on my view, it's a category error to apply justification to axioms.
Okay, so then I can just assert. Okay, wait, hold on, Goon, I got this. So I can just assert that you don't exist because that's my axiom.
You can have different axioms than me. That's fine.
So I can just assert that I'm the richest man on the earth, and that's my axiom.
Are you just asking?
An axiom is not a presupposition.
You can have different. You can have different axioms than me.
But the problem is that there's one true form of reality, regardless what your subjective mind thinks. There's one true objective reality. So you can say that this is just my axiom that I just claimed, but that's not going to be good enough to absolutely justify what you think you know.
Okay, Kason, I'm going to have to ask you to do this. Can you repeat back to me what my critique of you relating to agnosticism is?
No, because it's my axiom that I don't have to repeat, and everyone will understand what I mean.
So I just want to say you're not tracking what I'm saying. And Goon, I think Goon is starting to get it. I think Goon agrees with me now. I think you're the only one who's not tracking it anymore.
Goon's not going to agree with you, buddy.
I think Goon agreed.
What are you saying? I agree. What are you saying? I agree with you on?
Yeah, I think you agree that if you're an agnostic, you don't have to you're not committed to saying that anything is possible.
No, well, hold on. That's not even the claim on that table. So the contradiction is the P.
No, wait. No, Goon. That's what Kaysen said. He said that if you're an agnostic, you're committed to saying that things can be possible without God. I'm saying that's false. Do you agree?
To be clear, the what he's trying to convey is if.
No, wait. You're trying to.
He's muted. Yeah,
so it's if
too much over talking.
Yeah, so if P, you claim to be agnostic towards God being the necessary precondition as the derivative for truth values, you have to reference them, right? And not P, you claim to know truth values without that. That's the contradiction.
Well, the issue here is Kayson's a troll that's never taken a philosophy class, right?
Yeah, you're done. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, little boy.
You think I'm done? Do you know what an axiom is, Kayson?
Yeah, it's a unjustified belief. It's just you asserting that this is the case because I say it is, and that's ridiculous. It literally is. That's literally what an axiom is. I see what I see because I see it. That's literally what it is. It's just unjustified. You just accept it as a matter of fact.
Let's call it
It's viciously circular. Right, but it has no justification. It needs to have a justification, or it's just arbitrary. Okay, so then I can just assert. Okay, so then but you guys are so. It's such a cope. Okay, perfect. So then I can just assert that part of my axiom is God exists, and I win. Right? I win. That was easy. You guys are such cope. Like you think that these axioms save you. I've heard this axiom argument many times. It's fallacious. You're just saying, I know the grass is green. Well, how do you know that? Oh, because my senses. Well, how do you know your sense perception is reliable? It's my axiom. Okay, that's great for you, bud. That doesn't make it true.
I don't know what an axiom is. That's part of the problem. You keep saying it's merely an assertion. No, you obviously
It is.
Don't. No.
An axiom is without justification. Yeah, it has no justification.
Yeah, because it's self-evident.
It's self. How is it self? How is it self-evident that your sense perception is reliable? Can you tell me how it is the case that you're not in a delusion right now and you're not just imagining everything that we're talking about?
Yeah, because that's their ultimate authority. Any ultimate authority has to be an axiom because there is no other authority.
No, it doesn't. My ultimate authority is not.
Well, I'm saying it's not whether or not it's justified. I think they're saying their reason is the ultimate authority, so it has to be axiom because there is nothing else to appeal to. So with us, the axiom would be...
There is something else to appeal to. It's God. That's who you appeal to.
Yeah, and that would be our axiom. That would be
no, it's not. No, see, this is the problem with Christians. You grant the atheist too much credit. There is no other thing you can appeal to that's actually justifiable, and that's what we're trying to demonstrate here. So for you as a Christian to say that's just our worldview that shows your lack of faith. It is the only reality.
I'm not saying it's justified. I'm just saying that's why they're calling it axiom.
Oh, by the way, 5 solas. I saw in a video that you said that I don't think that you have to go to church.
You said that.
Okay. Well, I don't know if so being charitable, maybe I misspoke or maybe you misheard me, but I'm a Catholic, so I would never say that.
No, we had a long discussion about it, and we actually argued about it a little. He was like, I feel better now, justified not going to something about not going to church. You feel more comfortable. I forget what it was, but we had a conversation.
Okay. Well, do you at least understand my position right now?
Well, yeah, if it's changed, I understand. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
You don't have to go to church to prove God. I mean, it could be anything after. You don't have to go to church.
Well, I'm not going to get into this conversation because it's going to turn Christian against Christian. That's not our topic of discussion here. We're talking to atheists and showing how ridiculous their worldviews are, which is what we just demonstrated. They just think that, I can just appeal to an axiom and that makes it true. Who cares what your axiom is? How do you justify it? How do you know that it's valid whatsoever? I can just assert anything. I can just make an axiom whatever I want.
Most of them are on mute. The only person who's new to the room is Mole Man. What's up, Mole Man?
Well, they're not even trying to listen, and they think that they can just assert axioms without justification, and that makes something valid. It's crazy. Van Til would eat these people alive.
Well, here's the thing: God would be the only. Yeah, God will be the only axiom would trust your senses, because unless there is a God who has created a way that you can know and understand truth, His truth, then you don't have any reason to believe your senses are reliable. Because if you're your senses, then there's no way you can know they're reliable.
Right, you can say, well, it's the only thing I know. It's the only thing I can know. Okay, I understand that, but let's, this is why we want to point this out to you, because that you don't have to settle for that, and that doesn't even make any sense. Because you can't just, that's not a defense of your worldview to just say, well, that's the only thing I know, so it just seems obvious. Well, it may seem obvious to you, but so does a very vivid dream. I've been in dreams before. I had a dream the other night where I woke up and I thought I was late to class. And then I actually woke up from that dream and I realized I was 30 minutes early before my alarm. But in that moment, I really thought that I was late to class. So in that dream, was my axiom that I was late to class because that's what I thought? Was that justified? Did it comport with ontology? No, it didn't. I was wrong. You could be in that situation. And what we're asking you is, how do you know you're not? And if you don't know you're not, then you have no grounds whatsoever to object to the Christian God. You have no grounds whatsoever. Your only choice is to capitulate and to accept it. And once you accept the Christian God, now you can predicate. Now you can assert truth claims, because it can all fall back to, well, because God lets me, makes it possible for me to know things like that I exist, like that, I can, when I see something, it is for what it is, right? Until that, you have nothing. Your axioms don't save you. I'm sorry.
Go back, run to Tom Rabbit, run to Jack Angstrike, and see if they can save you, because they're not. Right? These people come in here with direct quotes from these people like Tom Rabbit, Jack Angstrike, what was Alex Malpass, and they just get bodied. Like the best that they could give, like the best the atheists have, they're using their arguments, and they're coming in here and they're just getting shredded.
Well, the best attempt that they make, and it's still pretty poor, but sometimes it does make me think, is when they do an internal critique. That's really the only way to attack this argument, is internally. But like most of these people we've been talking to, they're not even ready to like go there, because they still think that they can defend their worldview because an axiom can save them. Moman, like what you said in chat, it just shows that you have a clear misunderstanding of what we're even talking about here. At no point did I just say, I'm going to assume God. I have a justified system in which I know God can exist without the possibility of me being wrong. It's called a reductio ad absurdum. You may want to Google it so you understand, but this is what the argument is. And it's justified. It's a circular form of reasoning. However, and I know circular reasoning has like this bad name for whatever reason on this server, but you guys do it every day. You just did it with your axiom. You said, how do I know the grass is green? How do I know my senses are reliable? Because they're reliable. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was using his reasoning to justify his reasoning.
Did you just say
but
the reductio is circular?
But the problem with that is that you don't have a justification. You need a justification.
Did you say a reductio
in order? I'm talking and you're interrupting me.
You
don't know what intelligibility means?
I wasn't here before. I don't know how you define it.
I'm asking you a question right now. Do you know what intelligibility means?
There's a way I use that term, sure.
Is it yes or no?
I'll just say yes under how I use the term.
Okay, so do you know laws of logic?
Yeah.
Okay, so with regards to the laws of logic, are they concrete or abstract?
Well, wait a second. Now it seems like you're trying to dodge my question, because I wanted to get at what I was saying first.
My conversation with you is over. If you're not going to answer my question, it's over.
What is the contradiction entailed by atheism, since you said there is one? Just so we don't lose track of where we're going here. I just wanted to know what the contradiction is.
Yeah. So I'm going to answer that question, but first I want you to answer my question. So are you going to answer them?
I asked you this question first, and I don't give a damn whether you answer.
I don't give a damn whether you ask the question first. Or are you going to answer my question? Because I want to know. I'm willing to answer your question, but I want to know if we're in agreement with regards to it. Okay, if you're just going to speak over me,
if you're going to dodge my question, we can just.
I'm going to mute you if you keep talking. So, with regards to the laws of logic, I need to know if you believe that it is intelligible. And with regards to intelligibility, that intelligibility itself, with regards to the abstract concept of the laws of logic, is required. That's a yes or no.
I've asked my question. If you're going to dodge my question, we can just end it here.
Okay, we'll end it here. Goodbye.
Yeah, we can end it here. Yeah, just so for the record, he's just dodging.
I'm willing to answer your question as soon as you answer my question. I'm more than happy to answer your question.
I asked my question first.
Catholic first asked his question earlier. Actually, that's false.
I mean, I can answer that question if he wants. I mean, the contradiction in atheism is if someone then believes in a God simultaneously, then that would be the contradiction in atheism.
Wait, I don't understand what are the propositions that form the contradiction there?
So if a contradiction is someone who identifies as an atheist, and then also arises the claim that they also believe in God, then atheism, by definition, is the absence of belief in God or deities. The contradiction would be that they believe in gods.
Well, okay.
What is the problem?
By atheism first, I take it to be the proposition that God does not exist. It seems like you're talking about what people believe. What I'm asking you for is like, take the proposition God does not exist. Does that proposition entail contradiction? I'm not talking about what people believe or not.
Well, yeah, then that would mean if you do believe in a God and then call yourself an atheist.
No, Barth, you didn't get it. I'm not talking about people's beliefs. I'm saying the proposition God does not exist. Does the negation of that? Does that proposition entail a logical contradiction?
Well, you have to give it some context. You can't just go by that one.
What do you mean? What context do you need? Look, take the proposition God does not exist. I'm just asking you. Do you think you can derive a contradiction from that?
And what? And then
that's all. No. Wait, Barth. No, just that proposition.
Just that is.
Yeah.
Wait, God does not exist. You're saying that's a true or false statement?
Yeah, that's a proposition, and I'm asking you, what is the contradiction entailed by that proposition?
But it could be also represented as a question.
No, it's not. I'm not asking you a question. Try to just.
You said
just
does.
Listen. No. I said the proposition God does not exist. That's not a question.
You said does God not exist?
That's a declaration. No. You're not listening, Barth. I said the proposition God does not exist. Okay, that's a proposition. I'm asking you, do you take the view? Do you take? Yes, that's what I just said.
Which could be true and false.
Yeah, it's a proposition.
But it's already false.
Okay, so yeah, you can believe that. No, wait. My question. What? No.
It has to be a true or false statement.
No, that's confused. Something that's false is still proposition. It just so happens that the proposition has a true value.
Person, he's saying that he knows that every person. He's saying what I believe Barth is saying is that everyone believes in a God.
Well, wait. I'm kind of. I don't want people to like kind of butt in. I was just looking to talk to Barth if you don't mind shutting up.
All I'm saying is that I think what Barth is saying is that everyone knows God exists.
I don't really want to. I'm kind of talking to somebody right now.
Okay, so
just take the proposition God does not exist. Do you take the view that proposition entails a contradiction?
Yes, because when you asked before, what is the contradiction in atheism? I gave you the contradiction, which is if somebody is saying they are an atheist,
when you did that, you're kind of confusing yourself.
The definition of God would be that they do not believe in deities.
No, when you did that, Barth, what you were doing there.
Okay, you said, what is the contradiction in atheism? And I gave it to you.
Okay.
So now you're changing the conversation again.
Barth, calm down. Barth, just calm down. What you did there was you misunderstood what I was asking you. So when I say atheism, I just take atheism. Wait. I'm just talking about the proposition God does not exist.
Well, you
I'm just asking, do you take the view? Okay, well, now I am saying it. Now you understand it. Okay. So I'm asking, do you take the view that proposition entails a logical contradiction? That's just a yes or no.
Logical contradiction, no.
Okay, you don't. So you believe that the proposition God does not exist is logically possible then?
It could be a different contradiction, though.
Okay, yeah, but to be clear, we agree that it's logically possible that God does not exist.
No, you said that proposition. I'm not saying that is the case.
Okay, so to be clear, the proposition. Shut up, Moxie. To be clear,
we're asking, how do you know that to be the case?
That's logically possible.
That's what I'm asking him. Wait, you're saying it to be the case? God does not exist?
The proposition God does not exist. We agree that that's logically possible.
It's like a question.
The proposition. I'm asking. Yes, good job. I'm asking you a question. Good job.
Yeah, that's kind of,
so the proposition God does not exist. We now agree that it's logically possible because you said you don't take the view that it entails a logical contradiction.
I'm trying to make you understand what a proposition is, right? And when you start to
a proposition is just a statement that has a true value.
Right? When you start with the sentence with does,
under like classical logic where we have bivalence, it'll just be an expression that can be true or false.
And the question is not a contradiction. Is not a proposition. So
it's just kind of like bloviate. That's it.
Well, Moxie, just shut up. Just shut up, please. Look, Barth, you're clearly just like confusing yourself. So the statement God does not exist. That's the statement that has a true value. So that can be true or false. And I'm asking you, do you take the view the statement God does not exist? It's a proposition. Do you understand now?
When you started with that's a question, brother. I'm sorry.
No, God does not exist. It's not a question, idiot. It's a proposition.
No, but you keep saying it wrong. Then you have to stick to one way of saying it. Then
I've been saying the same thing throughout this. I've been saying this. No, I'm not asking a question. Use your brain. The statement, quotation, quote, God does not exist, unquote. That's not a question, retard. That's a proposition. That's an expression that can be true or false. And I'm asking you, do you take it? Sorry, that's an expression that has a true value. Do you take it that statement entails a contradiction? You said no. Okay, if you take that view, that means it's logically possible. So it follows from that if you take the view
Well,
that
no, I said it was. No, I said it was. There's no logical contradiction.
Okay, so we agree that it's logically
There's
possible.
no logical contradiction.
So we agree that
There's
it's
no
logically
logical
possible now.
contradiction.
Yeah, that's what logically possible means.
Yeah, yeah, you can make up a world and say that that is possible within that situation.
Cool.
Sure.
So you're conceding that.
That's actually incorrect, Barth. Barth would say the same. It's actually incorrect. It's logically impossible for it to say that. It is logically impossible.
Guys, just don't overtalk each other. This is so annoying.
You're being super rude. You're being extremely rude right now. I'm talking to somebody. I don't know why you're butting in like.
What the fuck, man?
Okay, I can't keep listening to that guy. I put him on server mute just for a bit to explain. Barth, Darth would say that it is logically impossible for there to be a not God world. So because it would be a
it's metaphysically impossible. But them trying to use some little story about, a book that they're writing that talks about there is no God. Yeah, it's logically possible, of course.
Yeah, it would be logically impossible. And let me explain why. Logic itself is an abstract of the mind. It requires intelligibility. You cannot have intelligibility itself in a not God world. Therefore, it would be a logical impossibility to propose that a not God world exists.
Can we agree that Barth conceded towards Mason? Was that
If I could speak on this, I would say this. So the proposition God.
Oh wait, no, I can't. No, hold on, I can't. Wait a second. I gotta unmute this guy really quick because I can't just do that. He was in the middle of it.
Yeah, I was hoping that these idiots wouldn't butt in like socially inept creatures when I'm talking to somebody. So you agree now? You agree now that the statement "God does not exist" is logically possible.
The statement in and of itself could be logically understood. Yes.
Okay. We agree it's logically possible.
Now, are you saying in all cases? No, that would be
no. Shut up. Track what I'm asking you. I'm asking you. You already agreed that it doesn't entail contradiction. That just means it's logically possible. So it follows that you agree it's logically possible. I'm just asking you to agree with that statement. So you agree that the proposition God does not exist is logically possible.
Definitionally, though, it'll be a definitional. It'll be like a definition contradiction. Within like a square circle.
No, shut the fuck up.
It would be conceptually
shut up. No, you're not getting
have a world without
God. You can't have a conversation with someone if you're saying shut up. You can't have a conversation.
You're not tracking anything. The point is that you're just appealing to examples like square circle. You're just appealing to things that entail contradictions. You've already agreed though that the statement God does not exist does not entail a logical contradiction.
A logical contradiction, but I'm telling you it's a conceptual contradiction.
What is that supposed to mean?
It means that definitionally it doesn't make sense because God is necessary. So
I don't know what you mean, but okay. The next part is okay. If P does not entail logical contradiction, then P is logically possible by definition. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, but there's no identity to that. So yeah.
Okay, so you agree, but you agree with me there. Okay, so if you agree that the statement God does not exist does not entail logical contradiction, it follows that statement is logically possible by definition. Do you agree there?
Well, the thing is that it arises different contradictions, even though
that's not what I asked. That wasn't my question, right? My question was, given that to say P does not entail contradiction is analytically the same thing as saying P is logically possible. Do you agree that the statement God does not exist is logically possible? Again, this follows trivially by definition.
Yes, but then the next question that follows.
Okay, so we agree. That was a yes. So we agree now that it's logically possible.
But the logical contradiction is.
I just wanted to clear concession there. We agree it's logically possible, right?
No, not logically possible.
Okay. Now we have to walk through it again. Okay, you agree that the statement doesn't entail a logical contradiction. If for any proposition P doesn't entail a logical contradiction, then P is logically possible. Why is that the case? Because all logically possible means does not entail a contradiction. That's true by definition. So if you already agree that it doesn't entail a contradiction, then you have to agree it's logically possible.
Yeah, but now you're saying the actual.
No, now you're going to a bunch of different things, right? So I'm asking you to agree. Do we agree now that it's logically possible? Do we agree it's logically possible?
I could see how you're using some sort of framework to justify your reasons for not believing in God.
That wasn't what I asked you.
But now when you talk about necessity, that's a different conversation.
Stop being so slimy and dishonest. Look, I asked you a question. Do we agree it's logically possible?
I know what your entailments are. You're trying to get.
Do we agree? Yes or no? Do we agree that it's logically possible?
You said the proposition, which is a statement.
Yeah. The proposition God does not exist. Do we agree that that's a logically possible?
Conceptual things.
Do we agree that that's a logically possible proposition?
when you say that. Yeah, I can understand that.
So no. My question, my question, to be clear, is: do we agree that that proposition is logically possible? That's the question.
Well, within the proposition and how you're stating it, okay, yes, but that doesn't entail.
No, it's not logically possible. No, let me explain why, Darth.
A wave through humanity and says, "Oh, God cannot exist now because there is some way of thinking it doesn't." But you're just talking about conversation. You're talking about propositions. These do not transcend through reality, buddy.
But Barth, it's not logically possible because the thing is, even if I get away from the intelligibility argument, another argument, if I, for example, if I say I'm going to jump to the moon, okay, it is not logically possible that I can jump to the moon simply because I state that I can jump to the moon, right? Not in this world. In this reality, I cannot jump to the moon. No matter how many times I try, I can't do it. So just because a statement is made doesn't make it logically possible. That's the second argument. The first argument that I put forward was the argument about intelligibility itself. One cannot even make a claim with regards to logic because in the atheistic worldview, there isn't any intelligibility. That's why I was trying to get that guy to admit with regards to whether logic itself is intelligible. He didn't want to answer because if he would have said yes, that would mean that an intelligent agent is behind intelligibility, and that would mean that God is behind logic itself, and therefore he couldn't impose that claim saying it is logically possible for there to be a not God world, because in order for logic itself to exist, it would mean that God has to exist. Therefore, his claim that it is logically possible for God not to exist falls apart.
Thank you, bro. I was just about to say that.
And I think you should have I think you should have said that because he knows other minds exist, which is when he's going to use this logic, is how he knows that God exists. Because you, within your mind, you have to be experiencing something in the world, in the reality. So once he gives the fact that he knows other minds exist besides himself, he uses this logical system, and the only way he would be able to do that to know is if there is an ultimacy in the world.
So I think I heard. Before I got so rudely muted, I don't know if I heard the answer to my question. I think did you say yes? It is the case that the statement "God does not exist" is logically possible. Was the answer yes?
Yeah, I agree to that. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Cool. Now, if anybody else wants to talk, I'm
the
happy
statement
to talk
or the proposition
now
itself.
We agree. So we now agree that the proposition God does not exist is logically possible. Finally,
he wants. Listen, at the same time, I mean, where do we go from there? I mean, is at the end? Because I was expecting if I committed to this, now you were gonna explain like an argument or something.
Well, all I heard was a lot of people claiming that it's logically impossible for God to exist. And I just wanted to be clear that it's not the case. Okay, that's the goal I have in mind. If there's some other issue you want to talk about, I'm happy to talk about that issue as well. It's logically possible for God to exist as well.
Well, the thing here is, right, you have to realize, with the statement that you just said and you agreed with saying about the impossibility of something, you're going to have to give us some of your metaphysical background information so that statement actually makes sense. Because you can say whatever you want. But you're saying the impossibility of the contrary. So I want to know what's that framework that you're using? Because I give you the Christian worldview, and the impossibility is constituted by God. But you're saying impossibility, which you just stated is what you wanted me to agree to, which was the logical impossibility of something existing, correct? But then I'm asking you now, after I agree with it.
No, I didn't. I didn't say.
What is the metaphysical
I didn't ask you to agree with the logical impossibility
that makes this statement of yours in any meaningful way? Like, what gives it that meaning now that you're saying there could be an impossibility?
Now you're getting a bit lost. Now you're getting lost.
No, I'm not getting lost.
I didn't ask you to agree to anything. No. I didn't ask you to agree. Right? No, you're getting a bit lost.
Now you're saying impossible.
No. Now you're getting a bit lost. I didn't ask you to agree to anything is impossible. I asked you to agree that a given proposition was possible. You kind of confused.
Now I'm realizing that it's not.
Maybe you made a mistake. I didn't ask you to agree that anything was impossible. I asked you to agree that something was possible.
Some strange reason when you say something is impossible.
So you made an error. You made an error in the way you characterized what just happened.
Actually,
you made an error there.
About that statement holds no water. It holds nothing. There's nothing to
So,
that
so
claim.
to be clear, we agree that you actually made an error with regards to how you characterize what just
No,
happened.
I'm not making an error.
No, the error, the
I'm making
mistake,
an error is
Barth, the mistake, the
believing that
mistake
you knew what the
is that
definition
you said I asked you to agree that something is impossible. No, I asked you to agree that a proposition was possible. Okay, so you made a mistake there. You said a false.
So I have a way to explain when I say something's
Well,
impossible.
no.
I have a way to explain.
Do you agree that you made a false claim there?
And when we were done,
do you
with
agree that you made a false claim there?
to it. No. And I agreed to it. You were like, okay,
do you
that's
agree
it.
that you made a false
and I'm like,
claim
well, wait,
there?
what do you mean that's it?
Well,
why
I
is
just want to make sure.
Why
Do
is that
you agree that you actually made a false claim?
You're not even letting the conversation
You're not.
continue.
You're not answering. You just ramble.
So
you're not
what
answering my
makes
question.
that statement impossible in your worldview? And
Okay,
now
you know what?
want to backtrack.
I'll let you keep talking. Tell me when you're going to answer my question.
What is the question?
Great. Do we agree that when you said that I was telling you to agree that something is impossible, do you agree that that's a false claim? I never told you to do that.
No, you didn't make me do anything. You asked me a question, and I wanted to know where you were going with it.
Yeah, but you said I was trying to get you to agree that something was impossible. That's actually not the case.
Well, it's not the case, but you were using logical
Okay, so we agree that you made a false claim. Cool.
Whatever.
Okay, so we agree you made a false claim. Cool. Okay, now what?
I didn't make a false
I'm not clear on what you're saying now. Is what proposition do you want to debate about right now? Because I'm not clear on what you're saying.
I just want to know if you're going to give me any proposition that's impossible, something that could be impossible or even possible. You're going to have to explain that framework.
Wait, hold up. You're asking me a question about something?
Theology that's disciplined and attempts to formulate a rational, coherent account of faith and
beliefs. No, this is all gibberish. Look, I understand you're trying to ask me a question. I just don't know what the question is.
So, because you do not have a systematic framework that constitutes your truth claims, you're going to be left with a lot of misinformation.
This is all gibberish. I don't know what you're asking. Can you make the question very clear? Just make the question clear. What is the question you're trying to ask me?
Well, I wanted to continue answering your questions.
You've already given an answer to my question. You've already given an answer. Now it seems like you're trying to take the discussion somewhere else.
Now you don't want to.
No, we're not backtracking. You've already conceded to the point I wanted. Now you're not tracking anything. So you already admitted that it's logically impossible. You already admitted that atheism is logically impossible. Sorry, logically possible. Now we're going somewhere else.
I wish I had your patience.
Now, can you please be quiet, idiot? Now we're going somewhere else. Now we're going somewhere else with the discussion.
I think you want to go somewhere else.
It seems like you're trying to ask me a question. I don't know what question you're asking.
And you have no way of answering it. And I think that's why.
Can you make the question clear? Like all I've heard is gibberish. What is the question you're asking me?
The question is the impossibility of something, and you wanted me to agree, or should I say? All right, I'll say it differently. I'm sorry, I said it again. I apologize. I take that back. You were asking me about a logical contradiction, and definitionally, it made sense, so I agreed. But then, when I wanted to know what I agreed in, and that what entails from that, me making that statement, you refused to continue. So I was like, well, what makes it impossible?
Oh, okay. So you want clarification on what it means? Yeah, I can explain that roughly. So
so what would make that statement? Yeah, what would make that statement true or false in your worldview? That's what I'm really want to know.
You're asking a few different questions. So the first one I heard was like, what is entailed by me saying atheism is logically possible, or what follows from me granting this? And now the second question I heard is like, what makes these sort of statements true? So which one are you going with here?
Within you have a paradigm. Well, you can ask the first one.
You've asked two different questions. Which one are you going for?
Whatever one you want.
I mean, I can just do both. So the first thing, what follows from your agreement? Well, it just follows that if you were to claim something like, let's say you claim that atheism is logically impossible, then it follow that you've actually made a false claim and that you've conceded that it's now possible logically. Okay, so that's all that followed from that. Now the second thing, like what makes it true? Like what makes it true that the statement and expression is possible? Well, whether or not like a proposition P is possible just depends on the modality that you're working with. So for example, if we say it's logically possible, I just take that to mean that the statement doesn't violate any of the laws of logic, or it doesn't entail a logical contradiction. And you could also bring up different modalities, like you can talk about something being physically possible, in which case I would just take those statements to mean that expression or that proposition doesn't contradict or violate any of the laws of physics or the laws of nature. And you can have kind of different scopes under which you want to say things are possible or not possible. And
okay.
Yeah, so that's to answer both questions.
Okay. So for the latter, the last question you just answered, I would say when I don't like using modality because you can't really prove any of the statements that you're making with with these situations that you're putting it in with possible worlds.
I don't understand.
Let me finish. I don't like using this as an example in my argumentation because I think it is very disingenuous to say that you're going within conversation, going to talk about a possible world and not know the ripple effect of the entire world because there's no way to test it because the only world you're going to ever compare it to is the actual. So any sort of hypothetical that's where it is. It's just a philosophical thought experiment. There's no way for you to prove what you're saying is actually true by your examples of using modality in that way.
It just seems like there's a false
I don't necessarily like to use modality in that way, and I just think there's other ways you could explain it.
I got it. Yeah, like it just seems like there's a mistake with what you're saying. So, in order to show that a claim is possible under a certain model that you're calling like your modal scope, it's actually not required that you have some other world where you need to test that proposition. Like all that's required is that that given proposition doesn't contradict the axioms of your modal scope you're using.
Yeah, so but you would know all the effects of that possible world.
Sorry, what?
All right, let's play this game here. So you could talk 15 seconds. You can't interrupt them for the first 15 seconds. I think is the best way.
No, I'm not doing like stupid. You talk 10 seconds. Then no.
No, you can talk longer. It's fine. Just give a mental note of 15 seconds when somebody starts talking. So what I'm talking about is like sort of a way to think of other possibilities, which we do this at work when they design buildings and whatnot. They give you a simulation of a possible world of all the exit signs, all the exit stairways, and how big they are compared. Whether it fits in a big factory or a stadium, they have to have this margin. And within aesthetics, you could play around with this, but you still have to follow the guidelines. And then they run a test, like a simulation, to show you this possible world. You're not doing that in this situation, these conversations that we're having. They're just emptyless examples. So for you to get some sort of way of explaining something that you think is true out of just your little example and never show it actual is just a conversation piece. That's all it is. Just being.
Well, look, I think you're still under the same assumption as earlier that you don't actually need some other world in order to figure out whether or not these statements are true, because all that makes it true in my view, like as to whether or not a given statement is possible, is just that statement's consistency with the axioms of whatever system you're using. So as long as we have a proposition that doesn't violate the laws of logic, then that statement would be logically possible. Similarly,
you said all the
axioms doesn't violate the laws of physics, it will be physically possible. And we don't need to have another world. We don't even need to test these statements necessarily. We just need to have some.
Yeah, Bart, I would say is when he's referring to modality, he's referring to, like you were in your analogy. You were saying is the guidelines that they have to follow, right? The modality is the guidelines you have to follow.
What is it? The guideline is this world, this actual world, because then the example doesn't make any sense.
In this actual world, we use logic and reason to come to conclusions, do we not?
For him to logically, prove to me with empirical evidence that this is the case. Like, he's just giving an example within conversation.
Well, not everything is empirical. Like, you can show a contradiction just based on definitions, right? Like,
yeah, but then you're gonna use logic to explain it. And if it's just a hypothetical, then you have to categorize it as that. No, it's not the actual.
It is. We're saying is can you have a square circle?
Square circle. What does this have to do with the conversation? But
I'm showing you that you don't necessarily need to show something empirical in order to show a contradiction.
Yes, but then what kind of it's
like
not
a married bachelor, right? Definitionally, that is a contradiction. So that thing cannot exist, right?
Well, what do you mean? We're talking about it.
I understand, but what I'm saying is a square circle. Can a square circle exist?
But that's what I mean. What makes that impossible for you? So if I tell you I believe in God,
definition of a circle and the definition of a square, right? They do not coincide, right? It's impossible.
There could be this shape that changes into a prism and then a rectangle and then a square and then a circle and then a rectangle.
No, then it
all
changes
within every second.
Right?
Every single second, it flashes into a different state.
Oh my God!
How do you know that can't exist?
What
I'm
is
just
square?
Why
What is
can't that exist to you? That can't exist.
Bart,
in different shapes.
Bart. Yeah, but that's not a square. But that's not a square circle, right? Again,
then what would that be?
The issue we're coming into. What is a square?
I'm giving you a scenario in which this.
I don't know why
I don't know what the fuck it is. An alien.
Bart, I don't know why you cannot address this.
Out of existence.
What is a square?
Links a square and then a circle, a cube and then a sphere.
That's not a square or a circle. It's something else, right?